I am live. The GOP debate's about to start. I have donuts right here. Got this just for this. Alright, so it's commercial. The national anthem just has been sung. Great job. I forgot who it was. So it's about to go down. Let's y'all look at it. Y'all can see it good right there. And it will be right there. Man, I can see it a little bit closer. Good angle. Sort of. There, that's perfect. And I'll be behind the mic speaking. Let me kind of show you where I am. Hello. This probably ain't even worth it, to be honest. Okay, see me. I'm really pumped for this debate. They hadn't even like stinking even did like the introductions. Shame.
That makes it the #1 issue talked about on Facebook last year worldwide.
They hadn't even did the introductions. Already talking about Facebook? Are you kidding me? I love Facebook, but good God Almighty.
In the early voting states of Iowa and New Hampshire. Those standings determining the position on the stage of the candidates tonight. Here they are. Businessman Donald Trump.
And now we're going to Ben Carson. I like that guy. Dope. It's coming up. Dr. Ben Carson. He's whispering. I don't know what to think of this guy. I really don't. Marco Rubio. Oh. I'm Ben Carson. He doesn't even look like in a good mood on stage, so maybe he is right on being loud. Looks like he's going to kill somebody. He's like the last guy to make it, man. Poor thing. I feel sorry for him. Oh, God, I've heard these all the time. You have up to 90 seconds to talk.
As a candidate, so it's already a lot of time, you'll hear this.
Or the candidate would be kicked off stage. Let me turn the volume up on my TV.
The president said, quote, "We have the strongest, most durable economy in the world. And according to our Facebook user, jobs is one of the biggest issues resonating across the country, including here in South Carolina. The president is touting 14 million jobs and an unemployment rate cut in half. The president says that anyone who claims America's economy is in decline is peddling.
I think you have to be on some serious drugs to like say the economy is the greatest.
Well, Maria, thank you for that question. Let me say
that's mind-boggling.
South Carolina for welcoming us. Let me start. I want to get to the substance of the question on jobs, but I want to start with something. Today, many of us picked up our newspapers, and we were horrified to see the sight of 10 American sailors on their knees with their hands on their head. In that State of the Union, President Obama didn't so much as mention the 10 sailors that had been captured by Iran.
Of course he would. Did you expect him to?
Send $100 billion or more to the Ayatollah Khamenei. And I'll tell you, it was heartbreaking. But the good news is, the next commander-in-chief is standing on this stage.
Oh, Trump ain't gonna like that one. Uh-oh.
I am elected president, no serviceman or servicewoman.
Hang on, let me go on and get my donuts out for this one.
Our fighting men and women will feel the full force and fury of the United States of America.
Woo! Preach it.
On to your substantive question. The president tried to paint a rosy picture of jobs. And you know, he's right. If you're a Washington lobbyist, if you make your money in and around Washington, things are doing great. The millionaires and billionaires are doing great.
I'm still trying to get my donuts
The
open.
lowest percentage of Americans working today of any year since 1977. Median wages have stagnated, and the Obama-Clinton economy has left behind the working men and women of this country. The reason all of us are here is we believe we should be fighting for the working men and women of this country and not Washington, D.C.
Let me make sure I can hear this good.
We are on another 2 weeks in to this stock trading. You're thinking about investors already lost $1.6 trillion in market value. That makes it the worst start to a new year ever. Many worry that things will get even worse and that banks, financial stocks are particularly vulnerable. And if this escalates like it did back when Barack Obama first assumed the presidency, what action would you take if the same thing happens all over again, just as in this example, you are taking over the presidency?
Well, look, it takes three things.
Oh my God, I hate this dude when he talks.
When I was in Washington, we
I see he always reminds everybody he did. He balanced the budget. Big deal.
Debt in our economy was growing like crazy. It's the same thing that I did in Ohio. It's a simple formula.
Fix the golden
Common sense
microphone.
regulations, which is why I think we should
Let's
freeze all
go.
federal regulations for 1 year
Let's
for
go.
health and safety. It requires tax cuts because that sends a message to the job creators.
What does
that you're
it?
headed the right way.
Like, yes, or what?
If you
Uh-huh.
cut taxes for corporations and you cut taxes for individuals, you're going to make things move, particularly the corporate tax, which is the highest, of course, in the world. But in addition to that,
Yeah, like we didn't know.
we have to show that we can march to a balanced budget. And when you do that, when you're in a position of managing regulations, when you reduce taxes, and when you have fiscal discipline, you see the job creators begin to get very comfortable with the fact that they can invest. Right now, you don't have the taxes that are too high.
Where's
You have
Trump?
Regulations, I mean, come on, they're affecting
Man, he didn't even
everybody,
talk.
particularly our small businesses.
I'm like, it was like,
They're in a
well,
position
you would have
where
thought by
there's
now.
people. And I mean, are you kidding me? We're nowhere close to a balanced budget or fiscal discipline. Those three
Yeah, man, we far from it.
are going to get confidence to job.
Talking about we're far from balanced budget. Of course we are, man. Like he's trying to talk like it's like all this stuff is new or something. Like we don't know. We know you did it. You remind us every single debate. Oh, I did this when I was in Washington. I did this. I did that. I did that. I did that. We know you did. The whole country probably knows by now.
Every single American to a better life.
Recent global events have many people worried. Iran detaining American sailors, forcing them to apologize. North Korea and its nuclear ambitions.
Why is America apologizing?
And a Middle East that continues to deteriorate.
Wow, we
Not to mention
apologizing.
ISIS
We shouldn't even
in Trauma.
apologizing. You
Government
guys are
safety.
freak.
Sometimes it seems the world's on fire. Where and when should the president use military action to restore order?
Well, Maria, I'm glad to have heard from you in the summary of that question about what's going on in the world, because on Tuesday night I watched Story Time with Barack Obama, and I got to tell you,
He watched Story Time with Barack Obama. That was the funniest thing I heard of the night right there, man. Story Time with Barack Obama. Oh my God. I gotta give him that, man. I really don't even like him, but I like that was funny.
And others. But the one thing they never said about me is that I'm misunderstood. And so when we talk to our allies and we give them our word in a Christie administration, we know we're going to keep it. Next, we have to talk to our adversaries. And we have to make sure they
Well, he
understand
making
the limits
sense.
of our patience. And this president,
He won't
what
win.
Hank said right at the beginning is absolutely right. It's absolutely disgraceful that Secretary Kerry and others said in their response to what's going on in Iran.
We're sorry.
That, this was good. That showed how the relationship was
We
getting
sorry.
better. The president doesn't understand, and by the way, neither does Secretary Clinton. And here's my warning to everybody out in the audience tonight. If you're worried about the world being on fire, you're worried about how we're going to use our military.
I did not watch the debates before this because they are a waste of time. Oh no, they are like a rerun of it.
You
Oops,
cannot
I
get
shouldn't
Hillary
have.
Clinton a third term
Hey.
of Barack Obama's leadership. I will not do that.
All right.
If I'm the nominee, she won't be within 10 miles of the White House.
Oh! Oh! Hillary Clinton ain't even get 10 miles from the White House. I won't let her get 5 feet from it.
Protect American interests around the world. We are not the world's policemen, but we need to stand up and be ready. And the problem, Maria, is that the military is not ready either. We need to rebuild our military, and this president has let it diminish to a point where tin pot dictators like the mullahs in Iran are taking our Navy ships. It is disgraceful, and in the Christie administration, they would know much, much better than to do that.
Ooh, snap. We need to get Ben Carson to talk like that.
That our enemies are getting stronger, or that this country is getting weaker. Well, it's just rhetoric and hot air. Now the Democrats go even further, sir, saying Republicans even suggested such comments actually embolden our enemies. I guess they would include you. What do you think?
Well, first of all, the idea that somehow we're better off today than the day that Barack Obama was inaugurated president of the United States is totally an alternative universe. The simple fact is that the world has been torn asunder. Think about it. With grandiose language, the president talks about red lines and nothing to follow it up. Talks about ISIS being the JV team the size of Indiana with 35 to 40,000 battle-tested terrorists. He's missing the whole point that America's leadership in the world is required for peace and stability.
I am for Chris Christie. I'll be honest. I like to support him.
Here in South Carolina, a Medal of Honor recipient. I learned from him that what we need to achieve is peace through strength, which means we need to rebuild the
Man, I like what Christie said right there, man. He was talking some smack.
In this administration, the force levels are going down to a level where we can't even project force. Our friends no longer think we have their back, and our enemies no longer fear us, and we're in a much different position than we should be. And for the life of me, I have no understanding why the president thinks that everything is going well. Terrorism is on the run. China, Russia is advancing their agenda at work.
Amen.
And we pull back. As President of the United States, I will be a commander-in-chief that will have the back of the military. We will rebuild the military to make sure that it is a solid force. Not to be the world's policeman, but to make sure that in a peaceful world, people know that the United States is there to take care of our own national interests and take care of our allies.
Agree.
Worse yet, to be honest with you, Hillary Clinton would be a national security disaster. Think about it. She wants to continue down the path of Iran, Benghazi, the Russian reset, Dodd-Frank, all the things that have gone wrong in this country. She would be a national security mess. And that is wrong. And you know what? Here's the problem. If she gets elected, she's under investigation with the FBI right now. If she gets elected, her first 100 days, instead of setting an agenda, she might be going back and forth between the White House and the courthouse. We need to stop that.
He said between 100 days she'll be going. She'd be going from the White House to the courthouse in like 100 days. I'm ready for Trump to talk.
Is nothing more than twisted souls plotting attacks in their garages. But the House Homeland Security Committee recently said that over 1,000 ongoing investigations.
I gotta give him that one.
In 50 states. So how do you define the threat? Like,
oh man. Oh, we got a little Rubio talking.
She would just be a disaster. Hillary Clinton is disqualified from being commander-in-chief of the United States.
Woo! Snap! I gotta give these people this. She is disqualified. She shouldn't even be on a run. She shouldn't even be in like a politician.
Barack Obama does not believe that America is a great global power. Barack Obama believes that America is an arrogant global power that needs to be cut to size.
He's an enemy.
And that's how you get a foreign policy where we cut deals with our enemies like Iran. And we betray our allies like Israel. And we gut our military. And we go around the world like he has done on 10 separate occasions and apologize for America. He doesn't understand the threat in ISIS. He consistently underestimates it, but I do not. There is a war against ISIS, not just against
it's a war.
but against radical jihadist terrorists. And it is a war that either they win or we win. When I'm president of the United States, we are going to win this war on ISIS. The most powerful intelligence agency in the world is going to tell us where they are. The most powerful military in the world is going to destroy them. And if we capture any of them alive, they are getting a one-way ticket to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and we are going to find out everything they know.
Agree with everything Marco Rubio just said.
The president says he
Ben Carson.
want to treat ISIS
It's Ben
as a
Carson,
foreign
everybody.
army. But ISIS is neither a country nor a
It's Ben
government.
Carson.
How do you attack a network
He
that does
whispers.
not respect national borders?
Well, I'm very happy to get a question this early on. I was going to ask you to wake me up when the time came. I find it really quite fascinating, some of the president's proclamations. The fact of the matter is, he doesn't realize that we now live in the 21st century, and that war is very different than it used to be before. Not armies massively
It's Ben Carson.
on each other and
It's
air
Ben
forces.
Carson, everybody.
But now we have dirty bombs,
It's Ben
and
Carson.
we have cyber attacks, and we have people who will be attacking our electrical grid. And, you know, we have a whole variety of things that they can do.
What-
And they can do
What did you say, Ben? I couldn't hear you. What?
That they can explode in our exo atmosphere.
He is speaking up. I will give him
our
that. But
electric
good
grid. I mean,
God,
think about
man.
a scenario like
He
that.
still looks asleep.
They exploded
And
bomb with-
imagine him when he was like in kindergarten or something, and he like presented something to the class.
And
He's like,
dirty bombs.
Okay,
Can you
Hey,
imagine
class.
the chaos that would ensue at that point?
I'm Ben Carson.
He needs to recognize that those kinds of things are in fact an existential.
Imagine if he
threat.
decides to something.
Here's the real key. We have the world's best military, even though he's done everything he can to diminish it. And the fact of the matter is,
Oh, he can't
we
destroy
give
it
them
for
a
good,
mission
y'all.
without tying their hands behind their back. They can get it accomplished.
Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump.
Fine.
At the State of the Union, the president pointed to a guest who was a Syrian refugee, you might recall, whose wife and daughter and other family
Ben Carson
members
just
were
speak.
killed in an air attack. Now
He
he
was
left
asleep.
that country seeking asylum here, ultimately ended up in
Now we have Donald Trump
where he's
speaking.
now trying to start a new life. The president
Carson,
says
I interrupt.
that doctor is the real face of these refugees and not the one that you and some of your colleagues on this stage are painting.
Dag.
That you
Oh.
prefer the face of
Hurry up and speak, Trump.
and that you would refuse to let in anyone into this country seeking legitimate asylum. How do you answer that?
It's not fear and terror, it's reality. You just have to look today at Indonesia, bombings all over. You look at California, you look frankly at Paris, where there's the strictest no-gun policy of any city anywhere in the world, and you see what happens, 130 people dead with many to follow. They're very, very badly wounded. They will, some will follow. And you look around and you see what's happening. And this is not the case. When he introduced the doctor, very nice, everything perfect, but that's not representative of what you have in that line of migration. That could be the great Trojan horse. It could be people that are going to do great, great destruction. When I look at the migration, I looked at the line, I said it actually on your show recently. Where are the women? There looks like very few women, very few children, strong, powerful men, young, and people are looking at that and they're saying, what's going on? You look at the kind of damage that two people that got married, they were radicalized, they got married, they killed 15 people, and actually 14, going to be probably 16. But you look at that and you take a look, a good strong look, and that's what we have. We owe $19 trillion, our country's a mess, and we can't let all these people come into our countries and break our borders. We can't do it.
You're right.
The New York Times is reporting that you failed to properly disclose $1 million in loans from Goldman Sachs and Citibank during your Senate race. Your campaign says it was
Oh, that's a lie.
$1 million is inadvertent.
Well, Maria, thank you for passing on that hit piece on the front page of the New York Times. You know, the nice thing about the mainstream media, they don't hide their views. The New York Times a few weeks back had a columnist who wrote a column saying anybody but Cruz. And that actually that same columnist wrote a column comparing me to an evil demonic spirit from the movie It Follows that jumps apparently from body to body possessing people.
New York Times piece of crap.
You know, the New York Times and I don't exactly have the warmest of relationships. Now, in terms of their really stunning hit piece, what they mentioned is when I was running for Senate, unlike Hillary Clinton, I don't have masses of money in the bank, hundreds of millions of dollars. When I was running for Senate, just about every lobbyist, just about all the establishment opposed me in the Senate race in Texas. And my opponent in that race was worth over $200 million. He put a $25 million check up from his own pocket to fund that campaign. And my wife Heidi and I, we ended up investing everything we own. We took a loan against our assets to invest it in that campaign to defend ourselves against those attacks. And the entire New York Times attack is that I disclosed that loan
go back to the screen
with the United States Senate that was a public filing. But it was not on a second filing with the FEC. Both of those filings were public. And yes, I made a paperwork error disclosing it on one piece of paper instead of the other. But if that's the best hit the New York Times has got, they better go back to the well.
Mr. Trump better go next. Oh my God, they already going to commercial break? Alright, we're going to talk about the first part of the debate when they finally get to commercial break. I think Ben Carson did a good opening. He still needs to speak up a little bit more. Yeah, Ben has to speak up a little bit more. He's very quiet. Let's see what type of good commercials they have.
Everything you have to protect your life.
We got Arnold Schwarzenegger. The chopper. Get in the chopper. Watch it. Hey.
Join me in strike.
Oh man, I hate commercials. I tell you one thing. I like Christian Bush's opening, I'll be honest with you. They had some funny jokes. It's story time with Barack Obama. Or imagine story time with Ben Carson. Imagine Ben Carson when he was little, like, presenting something to a class. That would be hilarious. I'm Ben Carson. This is my science project. I took a break. Have someone dead. I'm Ben Carson. Let me write something in the chat. Come join. Join the show. I'm so good at typing. Join the show. Okay. That's good.
Did you know MSC Cruises is the largest privately owned cruise line in the world? It's 12 destinations worldwide. And now for a limited time, cruise the Caribbean on MSC Cruises and stay alive with our exclusive.
Yeah, see how much better it doing. Got it.
This money-saving 2-for-1 offer won't last. Book your Caribbean vacation now and journey to one exotic tropical island in paradise after a month. Call your travel agent.
Oh man, get in the chopper. Get in the chopper.
Scored big points with voters. Candidate Jeb Bush and the factor is Bill O'Reilly. Tomorrow, only on Mornings with Murray.
Alright, I'm gonna ask a couple of my buds what they think of this huge debate. And when I mean huge, I mean huge. Ain't the best impression of Donald Trump. But it's pretty close, I must say.
all your devices. So when you need more from your internet, it's there for you. Discover how much more is included. Get the speed you need plus free installation. Call 1-844-421-9814.
I am on my phone.
Welcome to the Extreme. The place where the greatest strength is your amazing enthusiasm. Where
Huge.
there's nothing more explosive than the sound of your applause. Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey presents Circus Extreme. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A Express. Dare to experience Circus Extreme. Save 50% on opening night tickets. Opens January 27th at Time Warner Cable Arena. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A in Charlotte. Get your tickets today.
Oh, we're already good. Okay.
Welcome back to the Republican presidential debate right here in North Charleston, South Carolina. Let's get right back to the questions, and I'll start with you, Senator Cruz. Now, you are, of course, a strict constitutionalist, no one would doubt that. And as you know, the U.S. Constitution says only natural-born citizens are eligible.
Oh, Lord, talking about his citizenship.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Now, you were born in Canada to an American mother, so you were
man.
considered an American citizen.
Ted Cruz, let me repeat this. Ted Cruz was born in America, okay? I'm tired of hearing this. Okay. Let's see what Trump got to say.
Do you want to try to close this topic once and for all tonight?
Well, Neil, I'm glad we are focusing on the important topics of the evening. Back in September, my friend Donald said that he had his lawyers look at this from every which way. And there was no issue there. There was nothing to this birther issue. Now,
Trump smiling.
the poll numbers have. I recognize that Donald is dismayed that his poll numbers are falling in Iowa. But the facts and the law here are really quite clear. Under long-standing U.S. law, the child of a U.S. citizen born abroad is a natural-born citizen. If a soldier has a child abroad,
which is true, if your mother or father was born in America, you are an automatic citizen, even if you wasn't actually born in the country. If your parents were born, you're an American citizen.
Even though he was born in
Jeez.
At the end of the day, the legal issue is quite straightforward, but I would note that the birther theories that Donald has been relying on, some of the more extreme ones insist that you must not only be born on U.S. soil, but have two parents born on U.S. soil. Under that theory, not only would I be disqualified, Marco Rubio would be disqualified, Bobby Jindal would be disqualified, and interestingly enough, Donald J. Trump would be disqualified. Because Donald's mother was born in Scotland, she was naturalized. Now, Donald,
But I was born here.
on the issue of citizenship, Donald,
Big difference.
on the issue of citizenship, Donald, I'm not going to use your mother's birth against you.
Because it wouldn't work.
You're an American, as is everybody else on this stage, and I would suggest we focus on who's best prepared to be commander-in-chief, because that's the most important question facing the country.
Cruz got to marry y'all.
Let me just tell you something, and you know because you just saw the numbers yourself. NBC Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll. Headline, Trump way up, Cruz going down. I mean, so, you can't, they don't like the Wall Street Journal, they don't like NBC, but I like the poll. And frankly, it just came out. And in Iowa now, as you know, Ted, in the last 3 polls, I'm beating you. So, you shouldn't misrepresent how well you're doing with the polls. You don't have to say that. In fact, I was all for you until you started doing that because that's a misrepresentation. Number 1. Number 2, this isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square, and I have to win this well. Thank you. Lawrence Tribe and numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for us. Here's the problem. We're running. He does great. I win. I choose him as my vice presidential candidate, and the Democrats too, because we can't take him along for the ride. I don't like that, okay? The fact is, and if for some reason he beats the rest of the field, see, they don't like that. They don't like that. No, they don't like that he beats the rest of the field because they want me. if for some reason, Neil, he beats the rest of the field, I already know the Democrats are going to be bringing a suit. You have a big lawsuit over your head while you're running, and if you become the nominee, who the hell knows if you can even serve in office? So you should go out, get a declaratory judgment, let the courts decide, and you shouldn't have raised the polls because I would have been myself.
Why now? Why are you raising it?
Because now he's doing a little bit better. No, I didn't care before. It's true. No, it's true. Hey, look, he never had a chance. Now he's doing better. He's got probably a 4 or 5% chance. I don't The fact is, there's a big overhang. There's a big question mark on your head. And you can't do that to the party. You really can't. You can't do that to the party. You have to have certainty. Even if it was a 1% chance, and it's far greater than 1%, because he wasn't going. I mean, you have great constitutional lawyers that say you can't run. If there was and you know, I'm not bringing a suit, I promise. But the Democrats are going to bring a lawsuit. And you have to have certainty. You can't have a question. I can agree with you or not, but you can't have a question over your head.
Well, listen, I've spent my entire life defending the Constitution before the U.S. Supreme Court, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to be taking legal advice from Donald
You don't have to. Take it from Lawrence.
Well, I'll tell you, take it from your professor. Well, the chances of any litigation proceeding and succeeding on this are zero. Now, Mr. Trump is very focused on Larry Tribe. Let me tell you who Larry Tribe is. He's a left-wing.
Oh man, I was so worried. I was so worried about Trump and Cruz going at it, and they're my favorite too, and they're going at it. I hate this. Dang, oh man, this sucks.
In there are many lawyers. And I'll tell you what, Donald, you very kindly just a moment ago offered me the VP slot. I'll tell you what. If this all works out, I'm happy to consider naming you as VP. And so if you happen to be right, you could get the top job at the end of the day.
No, I think if it listen. I consider, but I think I'll go back to building buildings if it doesn't work out.
Actually, I have a feeling
it's going to work out, actually.
I would say, Neil, I can tell you this. Let me, Neil, because I was involved in that question, so let me just say, in that answer, let me say, the real question here, I hate to interrupt this episode of Court TV, but the real...
That was funny. Court TV.
This is the greatest country in the history of mankind. But in 2008, we elected a president that didn't want to fix America. He wants to change America. We elected a president that doesn't believe in the Constitution. He undermines it. We elected a president that's weakening America on the global stage. We elected a president that doesn't believe in the free enterprise system. This election has to be about reversing all of that damage. That's why I'm running for office. Because when I become president of the United States, on my first day in office, we are going to repeal every single one of his unconstitutional executive orders.
Please, repeal them all. Get rid of Obamacare. Get rid of all the other stupid crap he's put on there.
America's the greatest country in the world. When I'm president, we're going to have a president that acts like it.
Thank you, Senator.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
In her response to the State of the Union address. Within the party, saying Republicans should resist, quote, the siren call of the angriest voices. She confirmed she was referring to you and others. Was she out of line? And how would a President Trump unite the party?
Okay. First of all, Nikki this afternoon said I'm a friend of hers, actually a close friend, and wherever you are sitting, Nikki, I am a friend. We're friends. That's good. But she did say there was anger. And I could say, oh, I'm not angry. I'm very angry because our country is being run horribly. And I will gladly accept the mantle of anger. Our military is a disaster. Our health care is a horror show. Obamacare.
I'm angry too.
And replace it. We have no borders. Our vets are being treated horribly. Illegal immigration is beyond belief. Our country is being run by incompetent people. And yes, I am angry. And I won't be angry.
Aren't we all?
Until we fix it, I'm very, very angry. And I said that to Nikki. So when Nikki said that, I wasn't offended. She said the truth. One of your colleagues interviewed me and said, well, she said you were angry. I said to myself, she's right. I'm not fighting that. I didn't find it offensive. I'm angry because our country is a mess.
Look, I'm sorry, just with time constraints. You and Governor Christie have been exchanging some fairly nasty words of late. And I will allow the governor to respond as well. The governor went so far as to say, you won't be able to slide your way to the White House. He's referring to a series of ads done by a PAC speaking on your behalf that say, quote, one high-tax, Common Core, liberal, energy-loving, Obamacare, Medicaid expanding president is enough. You think you went too far on that, and you want to apologize to the government?
No, as I said already twice in this debate, we have a very serious problem in this country. We have a president of the United States that is undermining this country's security and expanding the role of our government. Well, I'm going to answer your question. This president is undermining the constitutional basis of this government. This president is undermining our military. He's undermining our standing in the world. I like Chris Christie, but we cannot afford to have a president of the United States that supports Common Core. We cannot afford to have a president of the United States that supports gun control. This president is more interested in less interested in funding the military than he is in funding he's more interested in funding Planned Parenthood than he is in funding the military. Chris Christie wrote a check to Planned Parenthood. All I'm saying is our next president has to be someone that undoes the damage Barack Obama has done to this country. It cannot be someone that agrees with his agenda, because the damage he has done to America is extraordinary. Let me tell you, if we don't get this election right, there may be no turning back for America. We are on the verge of being the first generation of Americans that leave our children worse off than ourselves. And so I just truly, with all my heart, believe, I like everybody on the stage. No one is a socialist. No one here is under FBI investigation. So we are a good group of people. But our next president, unfortunately, Governor Christie has endorsed many of the ideas that Barack Obama supports, whether it's Common Core or gun control or the appointment of Sonia Sotomayor or the donation he made to Planned Parenthood. Our next president and our Republican nominee cannot be someone who supports those positions.
I stood on stage and watched Marco and rather indignantly look at Governor Bush and say, someone told you that because we're running for the same office, that criticizing me will get you to that office. It appears that the same someone's been whispering in old Marco's ear too. And so the indignation that you carry on some of this stuff, you have to also own then. So let's set the facts straight. First of all, I didn't support Sonia Sotomayor. Secondly, I never wrote a check to Planned Parenthood. Third, if you look at my record as governor of New Jersey,
we all know that.
I have vetoed a 50 caliber rifle ban. I have vetoed a reduction in clip size. I have vetoed a statewide ID system for gun owners, and I have pardoned six out-of-state folks who came to our state and were arrested for owning a gun legally in another state, so they never had to face charges. And on Common Core has been eliminated in New Jersey. So listen, this is the difference between being a governor and being a senator. See, when you're a senator, what you get to do is just talk and talk and talk, and you talk so much that nobody can ever keep up with what you're saying, it's accurate or not. When you're a governor, you're held accountable for everything you do. And the people of New Jersey have seen it. And the last piece is this. I like Marco too. And 2 years ago, he called me a conservative reformer that New Jersey needed. That was before he was running against me. Now that he is, he's changed his tune. I'm never going to change my tune. I like Marco Rubio. He's a good guy, a smart guy, and he would be a heck of a lot better president than Hillary Rodham Clinton would ever be.
I agree.
My name was mentioned here. My name was mentioned as well. Here's the deal. Prince is totally right. He's been a good governor. And he's a heck of a lot better than his predecessor that would have bankrupted New Jersey. Everybody on the stage is better than Hillary Clinton. And I think the focus ought to be on making sure that lead this nomination process as wild and woolly as going to be.
Jeb will be just like his brother. He just don't have much energy.
Everybody's record's going to be scrutinized. And at the end of the day, we need to unite behind the winner so that we can defeat Hillary Clinton, because she is a disaster. Our country can rise up again.
It's the only shot to rise up.
Agenda that we present to the American
My
people
opinion.
in a way that doesn't disparage people, that unites us around our common purpose. And so everybody needs to discount some of the things you're going to hear in these ads, and discount the back and forth here, because every person here is better than Hillary Clinton.
Neil, I was mentioned too.
Where?
Yeah, I said everybody. And I just want to take this opportunity to say, in the 2012 election, we, and when I say we, Republicans tore themselves apart. We have to stop this, because, if we manage to damage ourselves and we lose the next election and a progressive gets in there and they get 2 or 3 Supreme Court picks, this nation is over as we know it. We got to look at the big picture here.
Hillary Clinton is getting some serious competition from Senator Bernie Sanders. He's now at 41% in the latest CBS New York Times poll. Vice President Biden sang his praises, saying Bernie is speaking to a yearning that is deep and real, and he has credibility on it.
Angle.
So what does it say about our country that a candidate who is a self-avowed socialist and who doesn't think a 90% tax rate is too high could be the Democratic nominee?
Well, if that's the case, we're going to win every state, and Bernie Sanders is the nominee. That's not even an issue. Look.
Bernie Sanders.
And I know Bernie. I can promise you he's not going to be president of the United States. And here's the situation, I think.
He will.
And it's what we have to. I'm going to tell you, when wages don't rise, and they haven't for a lot of families for a number of years, it's very, very difficult for them. Part of the reason I have been prison is because sometimes we're not giving people the skills they need. Sometimes it's because the Federal Reserve kept interest rates so low that the wealthy were able to invest in strong assets like the stock market when everybody else was left behind. People are upset about it. I'll tell you what else they're upset about. You're 50, you're 51 years old, and some kid walks in and tells you you're out of work, and you don't know where to go and where to turn. We have an answer for that? We do. There are ways to retrain the 50 and 51-year-olds because they've got great value. I'll tell you,
how long is this thing?
People are concerned about their kids come out of college, they have high debt, and they can't get a good job.
11.
We got to do a lot about the high cost of higher education, but we got to make sure we're training people for jobs that exist.
I won't be like on air. I'll be on here to like 10.
In this country, people are concerned about their economic future. They're very concerned about it, and they wonder whether somebody
I can stay up late tonight.
that's keeping them from getting it. That's not the America that I've ever known. My father used to say, Johnny, we don't hate the rich. We just want to be the rich. And we just got to make sure that every American has the tools in K through 12 and in vocational education and higher education. And we got to fight like crazy so people can think the American dream still exists, because it does, with rising wages, with full employment, and with everybody in America, and I mean everybody in America, having an opportunity to realize the American dream of having a better life than their mother and their father. I'm president. Look, I've done it once. I've done it once in Washington with great jobs and lower taxes. The economy was really booming. And now in Ohio with the same formula, wages higher than the national average, a growth of 385,000 jobs. It's not that hard. Just know where you want to go, stick to your guts, get it done, because our children and grandchildren are counting on us to get it done. And folks, we will. You count on it.
Very powerful.
Has brought up Bill Clinton's past in his
Bill Clinton.
Is that a legitimate topic in this election? And what do you think of the notion that Hillary Clinton is an enabler of sexual misconduct?
Well, there's no question that we should be able to look at any past president, whether they're married to somebody who's running for president or not, in terms of their past behavior and what it means.
Yeah,
but here's the real issue.
Everybody.
Is this America anymore? Do we still have standards? Do we still have values and principles? You look at what's going on you see all the divisiveness and the hatred that goes on in our society. We have a war on virtually everything: race wars, gender wars, income wars, religious wars, age wars. Every war you can imagine, we have people at each other's throats. And our strength is actually in our unity. You know, you go to the internet, you start reading an article, and you go to the comment section. You cannot go 5 comments down before people are calling each other all manner of names. Where did that spirit come from in America? It did not come from our Judeo-Christian roots, I can tell you that. And wherever it came from...
It's Ben Carson. He's still talking.
We need to start once again recognizing...
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he's like lying about like... Well, I know he probably wouldn't be lying about it, but I don't know if he was just like kind of joking about him being loud, being like, psych.
It's time for us to stand up for what we believe in.
Ben Carson.
The top issue people are talking about on Facebook:
immigration.
Guns. And
oh my God.
Join us right on the page in the conversation.
I could be on stage.
Right now, you can go to Facebook.
Oh man, I gotta be on stage.
We will be streaming live and talking about how we think the debate is going so far.
It's alright.
In a moment.
Sort of heating up. I still got like an hour. I might as well get comfortable, guys. If you are watching the GOP debate, put in the chat your thoughts. I gotta hear it. My opinion on this debate, it's heating up, sort of. I'm pretty, I had a bad feeling it will happen. I'm pretty sad that Trump and Cruz are going at it, even though sort of to the end it seemed like they were sort of cool, sort of, definitely, but I think it's going to be still some more tension between them. But even Trump said he would pick Ted Cruz as his VP pick if he just, you know, get it official that he's a citizen, supposedly. He is a citizen. I don't know why Trump's making a big deal. That's just him. But, you know, hey, what can I do? I ain't Donald Trump. But I do think Trump would pick Ted Cruz out of everybody. Because I don't think he would pick Ben Carson because of his own voice. I don't think he'll pick Ben Carson. Not Ben. No. But yeah, I don't think he'll pick Ben. I think he'll go with Cruz, even though they still have tension between each other. They'll just have to sort it out like men do. Men sort their issues out. Trump and Cruz. Cruz, supposedly you need to make sure you are legal, even though you are. I don't know, maybe Trump will just stop, hopefully. Oh my God, I've seen this movie commercial for like 2 minutes. Is this like a TV show?
Nobody was asking any questions before. These guys could expose everything. You want an explanation for what went wrong.
My favorite part of the debate was Chris Christie, or maybe it was Jeb Bush talking about Hillary Clinton won't be in the White House, she'll be in the courthouse, or Obama telling stories about how the world is supposedly going good. Story time with Barack Obama. Story time with Barack Obama. Obama, piece of crap. Could I actually, hang on, let me get this mic over here. I think I can actually use it.
The Commission finds no national interest in continuing to import better skilled and unskilled workers.
I'm bad. I'm gonna see if I can use this mic instead of having that microphone. Ugh.
American workers do not have adequate.
Well, that exists like another TV ad. Who's it for?
Easier to find employment, not harder.
paid for by Numbers
Who
USA.
is that? Number USA? Never heard of that before. Hang on, let me take this out. Alright. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, I'll make sure everybody's good. Okay. Make sure y'all can hear me, because this way I'm gonna start talking. I like this headset.
Seen on Facebook, with close to 3 million people talking about it in the past month. Right here in Charleston.
Maybe I need to get the other
He's been
mic.
accused of killing 9 people in a nearby church. Reportedly had not passed his background check when he got his gun. What is the harm in tightening standards for not
I
only-
probably need to get the other mic back on. I will later. Something good goes.
Governor Haley
Something
for
good
her
happens.
incredible leadership in the aftermath of Emmanuel church killings. I also want to recognize the people in that church. that
Put in
showed
chat if you can hear it, like the audio from my TV good. If I can hear it good, I'm gonna keep it on there.
Could have done what they did one after another within 48 hours of that tragedy taking place. Look, here's the deal. In this particular case, the FBI made a mistake. The law itself requires a background check, but they didn't fulfill their part of the bargain
Let me
within the
see.
time that they were supposed to do. We don't need to add new rules. We need to make sure the FBI does its job.
Okay, y'all can hear it good.
We should not have gotten
I
it
listen
done.
to the broadcast from
They would
YouTube.
not have passed the background check. The first thing
Okay, let me put this
Hillary
mic up.
is to take rights away from law-abiding citizens. That's always what they do, whether it's the things that are the terrorist attacks
I'm
or
going
if it's,
to
these tragedies that take place. I think we ought to focus on what the bigger issue is.
Speaking of somebody's energy being low, good God Almighty, Jeb Bush. He's not talking loud. Jeb Bush, your energy's low. This is Ben Carson. Ben Carson.
That's what we should focus
Ben Carson.
on. The violence in our communities, target the efforts for people that are committing.
I'm gonna start doing every debate.
If you do that and get it right, you're going to be much better off than creating a political argument where there's a big divide. The other issue is mental health. It's a serious issue that we can work on. Republicans and Democrats alike believe this. The president's first impulse is to do this by executive order, power he doesn't have. Why not go to Congress and in a bipartisan way begin to deal with the process of mental health issues so that people that are spiraling out of control because of mental health challenges don't have access to guns?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomas, under any circumstances, do you think we should be limiting gun sales of any kind in America?
No, I am a Second Amendment person. If we had guns in California on the other side, where the bullets went in a different direction, you wouldn't have 14 or 15 people dead right now. If even in Paris, if they had guns on the other side going in the opposite direction, you wouldn't have 130 people plus.
Putting on
dead.
Facebook,
So
I'm
the
watching
answer is
the
no. And what Jeff
Republican
said is
debate.
absolutely correct. We have a huge mental health problem in this country. We're closing hospitals, we're closing wards, we're closing so many because the states want to save money. We have to get back into looking at what's causing. You know, the guns don't pull the trigger, it's the people that pull the trigger. And we have to find out what is going on. We have to protect our Second Amendment. And you cannot do this, and certainly what Barack Obama was doing with the executive order. He doesn't want to get people together. You know, the old-fashioned way where you get Congress, you get the Congress, you get the Senate, you get together, you do legislation. He just writes out an order, executive order. Not supposed to happen that way.
Thank you, Trump. It's the law of the land.
President Obama wants to take people's guns away, yet under his presidency, gun sales have more than doubled. That doesn't sound like a White House friendly. The gun owners.
That sounds like people afraid the president's going to say, yeah, guns away, of course.
Yeah, I'm scared. No, that idiot.
The Second Amendment is not an option. It is not a suggestion. It is a constitutional right of every American to be able to protect
Yes, it's a constitutional right. Thank you. Someone make sense.
If this president could confiscate every gun in America, he would. I am convinced that this president, if he could get rid of the Second Amendment, he would. I am convinced because I see how he works with his attorney general, not to defend the Second Amendment, but to figure out ways to undermine it. I have seen him appoint people to our courts, not to defend the Second Amendment, but to figure out ways to undermine it. Here's my second problem. None of these instances that the president points to as the reason why he's doing these things would have been prevented. You know why? Because criminals don't buy their guns from a gun show. They don't buy their guns from a collector. And they don't buy their guns from a gun store. They steal them. They get them on the black market. And let me tell you, ISIS and terrorists do not get their guns from a gun show. His answer.
It's true.
You name it. If there is an act of violence in America, his immediate answer before he even knows the facts is gun control. Here's a fact. We are in a war against ISIS. They are trying to attack us here in America. They attacked us in Philadelphia last week. They attacked us in San Bernardino 2 weeks ago. And the last line standing between them and our families might be us and a gun. When I'm president of the United States, we are defending the Second Amendment, not undermining it the way Barack Obama does.
Hey.
Look back in your points, Senators. Look back in way that the president would take away everyone's gun. You don't think that's extreme?
About every 2 weeks, he holds a press conference talking about how he can't wait to restrict people's access to guns. He has never defended. I'll give you back. Well, let me tell you this. Do you remember when he ran for president of the United States and he was a candidate and he went and said, these Americans with traditional values, they are bitter people and they cling to their guns and to their religion. That tells you right away where he was headed on all of this. This president, every chance he has ever gotten, has tried to undermine the Second Amendment. He doesn't meet. Here's the difference. When he meets with the Attorney General in the White House, it's not, how can we protect the Second Amendment rights of Americans? It's, give me options on how I can make it harder for law-abiding people to buy guns. That will never happen when I am president of the United States.
Let's see you two. First off, the president's recent executive action on gun control said it's unconstitutional, another step to bypass Congress. But hasn't your own position on guns evolved, sir? The New Jersey Star letter led to report that you signed several laws to regulate the possession of firearms, and that you argued that in August 2013, and I quote, these common sense measures will strengthen New Jersey's already tough gun laws. So isn't that kind of what the president wants to do?
How long have I been on?
Not. The president wants to do things without working with his Congress, without working with the legislature, without getting the consent of the American people. And the fact is that that's not a democracy, that's a dictatorship. And we need to be very, very concerned about that. See, here's the thing. I don't think the founders put the Second Amendment as number 2 by accident. I don't think they dropped all the amendments into a hat and picked them out of a hat. I think they made the Second Amendment the Second Amendment because they thought it was just that important. The fact is, in New Jersey, what we have done is to make it easier now to get a conceal and carry permit. We have made it easier to do that, not harder. And the way we've done it is properly through regulatory action, not by signing unconstitutional executive orders. This guy is a petulant child. That's what he is. I mean, you know, the fact is, you know, let's think about, and I hope the president's watching tonight, because here's what I'd like to tell him. Mr. President, we're not against you, we're against your policies. When you became president, you had a Democratic Congress and a filibuster-proof Democratic Senate. You had only 21 Republican governors.
I will be taking calls.
After 7 years of your policies, we have the biggest majority we've had since the 1920s in the House, a Republican majority in the Senate, and 31 out of 50 Republican governors. The American people have rejected your agenda, and now you're trying to go around it. That's not right. It's not constitutional, and we are going to kick your rear end out of the White House come this fall.
Woo! Woo! Man! He's going to kick his rear end out of the White House. Kick it.
The answer is simple. You prosecute criminals. You target the bad guys. You know, a minute ago, Neil asked, what has President Obama done to illustrate that he wants to go after guns? Well, he appointed Eric Holder as Attorney General. Eric Holder said he viewed his mission as brainwashing the American people against guns. He appointed Sonia Sotomayor to the Supreme Court, someone who has been a radical against the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. He launched Fast and Furious, illegally selling guns to Mexican drug lords that were then used to shoot law enforcement officials. And I'll tell you what Hillary Clinton has said.
Man, he's doing good, Chris Christie. I'm proud.
The Supreme Court dissenters in the Heller case. There were 4 dissenters, and they said that they believe the Second Amendment protects no individual right to keep and bear arms whatsoever, which means if their view prevailed and the next president's going to get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 Supreme Court justices, the court will rule that not a single person in this room has any right under the Second Amendment, and the government could confiscate your guns. And I'll note that California Senator, Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein said, if she could say to Mr. America and Mrs. America, give me your guns, I'm rounding them up, she would. And let me make a final point on this. Listen, in any Republican primary, everyone is going to say they support the Second Amendment. Unless you are clinically insane. That's what you say in a primary. But the voters are savvier than that. They recognize that people's actions don't always match their words. I've got a proven record fighting to defend the Second Amendment. There's a reason Gun Owners of America has endorsed me in this race. There's a reason the NRA gave me their Carter Knight Freedom Fund Award. And there's a reason when Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer came after our right to keep and bear arms that I led the opposition along with millions of Americans. We defeated that gun control legislation, and I would note the other individuals on this stage were nowhere to be found in that fight.
Senator, let me follow up and switch gears. Senator Cruz, you suggested Mr. Trump, quote, embodies New York values. Could you explain what you mean by that?
You know, I think most people know exactly what New York values are.
I am from New York.
Well, you're from New York, so you might not. But I promise you, in the state of South Carolina, they do. And listen, there are many, many wonderful, wonderful working men and women in the state of New York. But everyone understands that the values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage, focus around money and the media. And I would note, indeed,
I am proud of my party tonight.
My friend Donald has taken to at his event playing Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. And I was asked what I thought of that, and I said, well, if he wanted to play a song, maybe he could play New York, New York. and you know, the concept of New York values is not that complicated to figure out. Not too many years ago, Donald did a long interview with Tim Russert. And in that interview, he explained his views on a whole host of issues that were very, very different from the views he's describing now. And his explanation, he said, look, I'm from New York. That's what we believe in New York. Those aren't Iowa values, but this is what we believe in New York. And so that was his explanation. And I guess I can frame it another way. Not a lot of conservatives come out of Manhattan. I'm just saying.
Are you sure about that?
So, conservatives actually do come out of Manhattan, including William F. Buckley and others, just so you understand. And just so, if I could, because he insulted a lot of people, I've had more calls on that statement that Ted made. New York is a great place. It's got great people. It's got loving people, wonderful people. When the World Trade Center came down, I saw something that no place on earth could have handled more beautifully, more humanely than New York. You had two 110-story buildings come crashing down. I saw them come down. Thousands of people killed. And the cleanup started the next day, and it was the most horrific cleanup probably in the history of doing this and in construction. I was down there, and I've never seen anything like it. And the people in New York fought and fought and fought, and we saw more death, and even the smell of death. Nobody understood it, and it was with us for months. The smell, the air, and we rebuilt downtown Manhattan. And everybody in the world watched, and everybody in the world loved New York and loved New Yorkers. And I have to tell you, that was a very insulting statement that Ted made.
For the third time in as many months, the Iranians have provoked us, detaining us, as we've been discussing with these 10 Navy sailors. Straight into their waters. The sailors were later released, but only after being shown on video apologizing for the incident. This occurring only weeks after Iran fired multiple rockets within 1,500 yards of the U.S. aircraft carrier and then continued to test medium-range missiles. Now, you claim that such actions indicate Tehran has little to fear from a President Obama. I wonder, sir, what would change if they continued doing this sort of thing under President Jeb Bush?
Well, first of all, under President Jeb Bush, we would restore the strength of the military. Last week, Secretary Carter announced that the Navy is going to be cut again. It's now half the size of what it was prior to Operation
Ooh,
Desert
I just got
Storm.
127 V's
The
on my
deployments are too
videos.
high for the military personnel. We don't have procurement being done for refreshing the equipment. The B-52 is still operational as the long-range bomber. It was inaugurated in the age of Harry Truman. The planes are older than the pilots. We're gutting our military, and so the Iranians and the Chinese and the Russians and many other countries look at the United States not as serious as we once were. We have to eliminate the sequester, rebuild our military in a way that makes it clear that we're back in the game. Secondly, as it relates to Iran, we need to confront their ambitions across the board. We should reimpose sanctions. They've already violated sanctions after this agreement was signed by testing medium-range missiles. Thirdly, we need to move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem to send a serious signal that we're back in the game with Israel and sign an agreement to make sure that the world knows that they will have technological superiority. We need to get back in the game as it relates to our Arab nations. The rest of the world is moving away from us towards other alliances because we are weak. This president and John Kerry and Hillary Clinton all have made it harder for the next president to act, but he must act to confront the ambitions of Iran. We can get back in the game to restore order and security for our own country.
Thank you, Governor.
Powerful.
Well, everyone has been focusing on Iran provocations. On one hand, what you make of what Saudi Arabia has been doing and its recent moves in the region, including its execution of a well-known Shiite cleric and its move to dramatically increase oil production. Some say in an effort to drive down oil prices and force a lot of U.S. oil producers out of business. Sure enough, oil prices have tumbled. One brokerage house now is predicting a third or more of American oil producers and those heavily invested in fracking will go bankrupt. And soon Saudi Arabia and OPEC will be back in the driver's seat. U.S. energy player Carl Ham recently told me, with friends like these, who needs enemies? You agree?
Well, let me first of all talk a little bit about my experience. I served on the Defense Committee for 18 years, and by the way, one of the members of that committee was Senator Strom Thurmond from South Carolina. Let me also tell you that after the 9/11 attacks, Secretary Rumsfeld invited me to the Pentagon with a meeting of the former Secretaries of Defense. And in that meeting, I suggested that we had a problem with technology, and that I wanted to take people from Silicon Valley into the Pentagon to solve our most significant problems. So I not only had the opportunity to go through the Cold War struggles in Central America, and even after 9/11 to be involved with Saudi Arabia and oil production. First of all, you know, it's so critical for us to be energy independent, and we're getting there because of fracking. And we ought to explore, because see, energy independence gives us leverage and flexibility. And secondly, if you want to bring jobs back to the United States of America in industry, low prices make the difference. We're seeing it in my state, and we'll see it in this country. And that's why we must make sure that we continue to frack.
I'm going to end this thing a little bit, guys.
My biggest problem with them is they're funding radical clerics.
Take a little break.
That is a bad deal and an evil situation, and presidents have looked the other way.
I might turn it back on, but I'm probably done for now, so see you later, guys.
Just like we were in the first Gulf